We have Miss Sarah Larson. She's here to talk a little bit about Host Ukraine. We talked about that earlier in our show today, and you can learn more about it through the My Country mobile app. Sarah, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so I want to just dive right into the nitty-gritty. Doc, you all right with that?
You dive.
All right, let's talk about adoption. Sarah, what is your personal connection?
Well, I have always known that I wanted to adopt children because I myself am adopted. So I was it's always been on my heart. I just always knew it was going to be my thing.
And then what led you to, we kind of mentioned earlier that you're with Host Ukraine. What led you into overseas adoption?
So we attended a few different adoption seminars, and it just kind of kept falling into our plate. So we started looking into hosting programs. And by the time all of our children and my husband were on board, the only program still open at the time was with Ukraine. So we just felt like, okay, God, this is kind of where you're calling us. Mm-hmm. And that's how we landed on Ukraine.
Okay, so you mentioned hosting. What is hosting? Tell me about it. Give me the details, because that's what Host Ukraine is all about, is this hosting aspect of working with orphans.
Absolutely. So the easiest thing I can compare it to is like a foreign exchange program.
Okay.
So children come from Ukraine who are orphans, and they come and stay in a family for a short period of time. So we have a 4-week window during the Christmas season and a 10-week window during the summer season. And they'll come and stay with a family, and then they actually head back to Ukraine.
Okay, so now, of course, the first thing in my mind is like, what? You show them, quote unquote, the good life, and then they need to go back to an orphanage in the Ukraine. Like, what is the purpose of this?
Right. So the biggest reason we do this is for children to know the love of a family. So all of the research says it takes a child, just having one adult in their life, just one caring adult in their life. So that's all it takes to kind of put them on the right trajectory.
Wow.
Yeah. So by having someone even if it's clear across the globe, that cares about you and loves you, can really help in the long run, make their lives better.
So really, now, sorry to interrupt you there. I'm just kind of thinking, like, for our listeners who are going to be having questions going through their mind, I'm just going to ask. I'm just going to assume that I know what they're going to ask. Doc is nodding.
Read their mind.
That's right. So basically what you're saying is they're getting a look at how they could create a different story when they're adults. And they're getting a look at what family means. And honestly, as you said that, them realizing that someone cares enough about them to bring them across the world and become a part of their life, that is a huge message to send those kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because now, instead of just kind of thinking about themselves and that survival mode of what can I do to survive this scenario, they have a bigger picture of, I have someone else that I can reach out to if I need some support, and I'm capable of doing hard things because I have that support.
And when they're here too, when these families are hosting, I have a couple other friends besides you that have done this. So this is why I'm familiar about it. And it's something that definitely is on my heart because I've seen what it produces. You also are able to give the children that come through the hosting program experiences that they would have never had. Skiing, riding a bicycle. Are there any things like getting glasses for them that families try and do while they're here, or medical things?
Absolutely. So when they're here, we ask that all of the families have both their dental checks and vision checks for the kids. And
That's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Most of these kids, especially with dental, most of them have never seen a dentist. So it has been a game changer for a lot of kids. We're so blessed here in Wyoming as well with Glen Rock Family Dental, who donates all of the dental work, and then First Street Vision Clinic, who also donates all of the optometry work. So.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. Thank you for throwing that out there. It's like the whole community pulling together. And I'm sure that a lot of our listeners have never heard of Host Ukraine, and to hear that there's businesses on board with it to try and make this experience better for these kids. Now, I know usually too, don't you also send them back with items that can be helpful and useful to them as they continue?
Yes, we have packing lists for families. So we make sure that they have kind of the necessities. Typically in an orphanage, it's kind of a giant room of just donated belongings. And so you go each week and you kind of pilfer through what is in that room, and that's what you have for the week. So by doing that, they are able to have their own possessions that they're able to hang on to and keep with them. So winter boots, winter coats, all of those necessities that we kind of take for granted are given to these kiddos.
Now, I know that all of these kids that are in the hosting program are also available for adoption if people choose to. Do we have any Casper families here that have adopted through Host Ukraine?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a total of 6 families here in Casper.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You're making families.
Yes, yes. And we have a huge group of people in Gillette right now that are all in the process as well.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That is awesome. Can you let our listeners know if they want to find out more about Host Ukraine, besides going through the app and finding that article we have written about it? How can they get a hold of you? How can they learn more? How can they help?
Absolutely. So we have a website that's hostukraine.org. You can reach me at any point at Sarah, SARAHL, at hostukraine.org. And you're welcome. I'll send you my information for texting, and get a hold of me any way you can, because we'd love to get these kids and families.
I think that's amazing, Sarah. Thank you for taking the time to come in studio and educate us about Host Ukraine and the hosting program, and also just let our listeners know we will be sharing some of these children from the Ukraine that are available for hosting opportunities in the next month.
Yep, and like Prairie Wife said, get all the info through the My Country 95.5 app.